Welcome back to another episode of E1 Combat, where we show you guys what is going down in the MMA world and the boxing world. And recently we had a fight that was long awaited. We had Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford in a fight that I thought was going to be a little bit closer, but as you guys saw the showing by Terence Crawford, he basically made it a one-sided fight and he literally put a beat down on Errol Spence. And I think that one thing that people have been talking about as of late has been how well Terence Crawford's timing and speed was, and well, of course his accuracy throughout that whole fight. But another thing that a few people also mentioned, and that I also believe was very essential for Terence Crawford to put that one-sided beating, was the fact that he neutralized Errol Spence's jab. If you guys actually follow me on my Instagram, I've actually made a short little clip on this technique, which I like to call catch and shoot. So ultimately, this technique works exceptionally well when two fighters of the same stance are actually fighting each other. So in my video, you actually would see a lot of examples with old school fighters like Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera, and also to a certain extent, James Toney. What I want to show you guys is just basically kind of like how this technique kind of works. As I mentioned, you guys have to basically be from the same stance, and basically is exactly how it sounds. So a catch and shoot. As soon as Errol Spence would throw his jab, he would catch with this rear hand right here, really close to your face. That's kind of like the ideal thing to do, just for the mere fact that, do it again, but he decides to kind of like shift it over into a hook, right? Like you're really close and you have enough time to react to like the punch that's coming in, right? So it's, in a way, you could kind of compare it to like the Philly shell, except you're not too slanted and not rolling off of your shoulder. It's literally like a conventional stance, right? And as soon as he throws the jab, you're here, right? Or if he decides to kind of like change it up and like feint you, right? Like it could be enough here to like be able to react, right? So you don't, just basically kind of like similar rules to like a parry. You don't really want to catch two out here, right? Because if he feints you, right, he could basically go over the top. So like many people mentioned, Terence Crawford's timing was exceptional. So even if Terence Crawford would basically block or kind of parry Errol Spence Jr.'s lead hand and kind of like mess up the line of fire for his cross, I mean, ultimately, I mean, since his hand was literally right there and ready to shoot and was quick off of it, boom, he would shoot really fast, boom, and even it, like as fast as he threw it, as fast as he retracted, right, and was able to just kind of like block anything that was coming in. I mean, you saw that quite a lot, and this is very, I mean, it's very old school technique. I think a lot of people don't really use hand traps anymore for like defensive purposes. I mean, a lot of people are really caught in the idea of using these hand traps for the offensive purposes. I mean, you would see Lomachenko, shoot a couple shots, drop down the hand, right, come over the top. So even if you kind of like want to close the range as well, boom, as you're stepping in, I mean, you're stepping in, but you're catching, and where your opponent's basically, catching your shot in his face, right? So I think if you guys slow that, like if you guys break down into detail how Terence Crawford was able to neutralize Errol Spence, I think that's one of the key elements. And I think a few people that are experts at boxing, I would say, also have or kind of like figured that out. And you see a lot of technique breakdowns of people kind of constantly just showing you guys how Terence Crawford was able to neutralize Errol Spence using that jab. That was one of the big things, or one of the key factors that Terence Crawford actually utilized to get a very decisive, very, I would say, like easy fight against or easy victory against Errol Spence. With all due respect, is the fact that he was able to neutralize Errol Spence's lead hand or his jab. Of course, there was other key elements that made it a one-sided fight. I think that this one was a key factor, though, just because of the fact that Errol Spence really did rely a lot on his jab, basically, to create punches. I mean, one of his signature combos basically starts off with a jab. He would throw like a double jab upstairs and throw like a right hook, left hook to the body. So I think that overall, Terence Crawford, besides the speed, the accuracy, and all the physical abilities that we talked about, or that most people are talking about, I think that there's a lot of things that you could take away from this fight tactically, and that was just one of the big ones. So if you guys want us to break down other skills or other techniques that Terence Crawford used throughout his fight against Errol Spence, just leave them in the comment section. And also, don't forget that you guys want to catch or parry or move people's shots very close to your face, just in case there's a feint, right? So don't get caught, guys, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video.